He was the most popular teacher in this school, and he was a 3-season coach, football, basketball, track, so he's very useful to the district. Male students, female students alike adored him. I can't tell you at what point it became a physically affectionate relationship that he would hug me, hold my hand. He wanted to wait till I was 14 years old to have sexual intercourse. That was a big deal to him, that I be old enough to choose, not 13. He pulled me in a coat closet and he raped me. He had always been raping me, but I never saw it as rape until he forcibly raped me. I never got it, that the whole thing was wrong. I just thought just that day was wrong, and it's taken me so many years to understand that.
The best numbers we have about the prevalence of child sexual abuse in schools is that between 3.5 and 4.5 million kids have been the target of some kind of educator sexual misconduct between grades kindergarten and 11th grade. The most effective way to decrease the amount of educator sexual misconduct is to educate the kids, the parents, and the other teachers. Once teachers understand the patterns, they're more likely to be able to notice that the teacher next door to them keeps their blinds down or has a lot of kids coming in the morning, and they can speak up to the administration.
The man who victimized me was my basketball coach when I was 11 years old, so I was about the same age as these kids. He would tell me he wanted to drive me home because he was so proud of the way I was playing in the game. Anytime there's a coach who's interested in spending that amount of time with particular kids, not around the other kids, it's a red flag. I spent a lot of time trying to hide this because of the shame that comes with it. I wrote to a friend of mine who works for Slate and said, I think I need to write something about this. When I sent it in and waited for it to go online, there was about a 45-minute period when I gave him the sign-off and waited for it to go live. And it was probably the most terrifying 45 minutes of my life as I sat there and waited. Once you say something like this, it affects the way people look at you. You always feel like people are looking at you. You always feel like people are being careful what they say around you. You feel like they're pitying you. What victims want more than anything else is they want someone to hear them.
Initially, my drive to even become a police officer was because I was abused. I wanted to do everything within my power to protect women and children. Statistics tell you that 1 in 10 kids, by the time they graduate, has had inappropriate contact with their teacher or a teacher. And so for my school district, that's 190 kids. Social media has really decreased the amount of time that a potential abuser has to spend with a victim. Unfortunately, in every investigation that I have had involving a teacher and a student, every one of the cases that I investigated started with some type of social media contact, whether it was started out with texting, a contact, a private chat room on Facebook or MySpace. All of those things, it was all started with technology or social media. A lot of times, these cases are covered up. Victims, parents and victims get met with by the school district. Law enforcement doesn't get contacted because they're making deals with victims to try to keep it quiet.
When I read the Associated Press report and found out the huge prevalence of sexual misconduct in our public school classrooms, and then I met Amy Hester and realized the experience she went through and what it can do to a student for a lifetime, I had to step in. Our Department of Education in our state had come up with the term passing the trash because the practice of educators moving from one district to another who were sexual predators had become so common. So what we did was, instead of saying you won't be liable if you tell, we flipped that coin over and said you will be liable, school district, if you do not disclose the sexual misconduct problem to the next hiring district when they call for a reference. We needed to correct this in our public schools.
I used to think I could just be over it, and I will say there is no way over a pain like that until you dig through the middle of it, understand it, dissect it, then can you move on from it. And there's help and there's hope out there, and you might have to take a few steps to find it, but you are worth it, and you have to do it for you and for the next kid that comes along.